I'm guessing that Mike Malone is no longer a head coaching candidate here because Pete D'Alessandro was part of the team that fired Mike Malone in Sacramento at the beginning of this NBA season. Is that a fair statement that Mike Malone probably will not be the head coach here now?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it definitely puts a damper on that a little bit. However, I'll say this. The owner was a big part of firing Mike Malone as well. The owner had his thoughts of what he wanted his basketball team to look like, wanted it to be more exciting, wanted it to be George Karl. Yeah. And so, though Mike Malone got off to actually a pretty good start until DeMarcus Cousins went down with the injury, he just didn't fit that mold. And so then the conversations behind the scenes now are very difficult to know who wanted him to stay, who wanted him to leave, and those kinds of things.
So in regard to that, your belief of whether or not that Malone's position improves as a result of this or diminishes as a result of this, I think we don't really know. Then, do we?
It's difficult to say. On the surface, I think still it might diminish it, but I guess I come back to the all the way back to this part, which is I don't know. If you're talking about the top three candidates, is he 1, 2, or 3? Right? So, see, I've always seen him as 3. So then in that respect, it doesn't matter much.
Well, if you have 3 candidates, you don't have a candidate. Is that what they say about quarterbacks? Yes. But, I mean, if it's still Melvin Hunt and it's still Mike D'Antoni, 1 and 1A, right. I don't know why they're visiting with him twice unless, as Les pointed out yesterday, as Les said, boy, that's a tough thing to say, that they're talking to him about being the associate head coach. Is that
which I think is a very good possibility about that. Listen, actually, an interesting tidbit: Melvin Hunt and Mike Malone were on the same staff under Mike Brown at Cleveland, so they're very familiar with each other. So in other words, if you say to Melvin Hunt, "Listen, we're going to have hands in on your assistant coach or your associate head coach," and he says, "Okay, well, can I at least have a guy that I kind of like?" So then you talk to Mike Malone a couple of times and test the waters. Listen, we might want you to be our head coach, but more than that, would you be open to being the associate head coach if that's
which he was for a long time. He was an assistant coach with 4 different teams. Yeah. Is it possible? Let me ask the two of you. Would you like this? Mike D'Antoni, head coach, Melvin Hunt running the offense for him, even though D'Antoni's an offensive coach, and Mike Malone as the defensive coach.
Never will happen. If D'Antoni's the coach, Melvin Hunt will not be here. That's about as now Mike Malone.
And if Malone is the coach, Mike D'Antoni won't be here.
But listen, just to twist that a little bit. Okay, so if Mike D'Antoni's the coach and Mike Malone's your associate head coach in charge of defense, then I think you got something because you have an offensive mind, and then you have Mike Malone, who's a clear defensive mind. So
I suggested Thibodeau last week.
Right.
If D'Antoni or Melvin Hunt were the head coach, bring in Thibodeau to be the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but you could do the same thing with Mike Malone.
2 weeks ago, a highly placed source with the Nuggets told me they would have a head coach within 2 weeks.
Right.
Today's that 2-week mark.
Yep.
When are they going to name a head coach?
Yeah, I actually have been told we're right in the window.
Okay.
Mid to late week this week is what I've been told. So,
okay.
We'll see.
This segment sponsored by the Blake Street Tavern. 3 bars under one roof, 18,000 square feet, 60 HD TVs. So whatever you want to watch, they'll probably have it on or they'll put it on for you. It's the Blake Street Tavern. It's 1 block north of Coors Field. It's Denver's best sports bar. Named that 3 years in a row by Westward, the Blake Street Tavern.